Hello, everyone, and welcome to a series of pre-event speaker interviews in the run-up to our World Hydrogen North America Congress. This is taking place in Houston on the 31st of March for 3 days. My name is Dominic Coyne, and I'm the program director, and I'm joined here today by Matt McMonagle. Matt is the founder of NovoHydrogen, a company focused on decarbonizing industry, transportation, and power. With nearly a decade of experience in renewable energy, Matt has held key roles at companies like Dimension Renewable Energy, where he was vice president overseeing energy storage projects, and Forefront Power, where he led energy storage strategy and international expansion. He has also served as chief of staff at Sun Edison, and Matt has shown true dedication to driving sustainable and innovative solutions. And so it's a great pleasure to have you here with us today. Hello, Matt.
Hello, good to be here. Thanks for having me.
So Matt, to begin with, would you be able to give the audience a bit of an idea about your background, how you got into the space, and your interest in the event, and what you're perhaps seeing in the industry at the moment?
Sure. I founded NovoHydrogen a little over 3 years ago, and we are a 100% focused green hydrogen developer. Our mission is green hydrogen where it is needed most, and we really like that as a descriptor of what we do. Obviously, it has green hydrogen. We're 100% focused there. And then where it's needed most, I think, is a really important signal in that hydrogen can do a lot of things, but that doesn't necessarily mean it should do all of those things. We really try to focus on the areas where it is the clear right decision. That, of course, is all current hydrogen uses. That's clear. And that was also an attractive aspect to this market. It is a large market today that we can reduce the pollution of and convert gray hydrogen to green or other clean hydrogen sources. But there's also other clear winning use cases for hydrogen. It's not all of them, and it can depend on the region you're in, but there are other clear winning use cases, and that's where we try to focus. We originate, develop, construct, own, and operate our projects. Currently, we're primarily focused on the United States. My background before NovoHydrogen was really always in energy development, but focused on battery storage, which was mostly lithium-ion batteries, and solar energy. I actually got interested and introduced to hydrogen as a long-duration storage technology. This was about 5 years ago, and then learned obviously a lot since then, and came to the conclusion that, one, I wanted to work full-time on green hydrogen, and then that the best way to be successful was a agile, focused shop, hence NovoHydrogen.
Okay, great. Thank you for sharing some more about your interest in it. I'm curious. You mentioned it on the at the start of the call when we were having a bit of chat before the interview. We're obviously right before the inauguration. Green hydrogen is being pushed very hard as a future technology, but we've potentially got an unfavorable president coming in. What do you think the effects are going to be on the green hydrogen space going forward? I mean, Trump's very unpredictable, but there's some theories as to what may or may not happen. Do you have thoughts?
Of course, it's obviously impossible to predict the future, and this does involve some speculation. What I would say is, backing up, I founded NovoHydrogen well before the Inflation Reduction Act, but even before the bipartisan infrastructure law. We were set up to be resilient no matter what the policy framework is. And I actually view hydrogen as a lot less policy dependent than some other technologies in the climate tech space. As an example, you could say offshore wind in the United States. In addition, another aspect of clean hydrogen is that there is multiple ways to make it, right? There's electrolytic green hydrogen, how we do it from renewables. There's blue hydrogen, there's hydrogen from waste or biomass, etc. Therefore, it has a broad coalition that's interested in this space, which, as far as I'm concerned, provides a much stronger base of support and, frankly, longevity, no matter who is in office. Now, specifically, obviously, the administration is changing, right, in several days. That certainly will be a key topic for the conference. I think the timing is pretty spot on from that perspective, and that will have several months of indications to see what has happened. But frankly, we're not concerned, because what we do and what the clean hydrogen industry provides in general is fully aligned with the goals of the new administration. That is energy security, providing resiliency to our customers, reducing pollution. We provide tax dollars, tax revenue, and investment, typically in rural communities. There's been a lot of data showing where IRA, Inflation Reduction Act, investments have gone, and it's, from a jobs and dollars perspective, the numbers are slightly different, but it's roughly 3/4 into red districts. In addition, most of our customers are domestic manufacturers in key industrial sectors that this administration is overtly supporting, from semiconductors to refining, ammonia, fertilizer, glass, metal, cement, steel, clean fuels, dispatchable power, etc. Therefore, we feel that all of those factors provide a really strong foundation for clean hydrogen going forward.
It's a great answer, Matt. Thank you. You're going to be giving quite a lot of much needed optimism to some of our audience, and certainly some people I've spoken to over the past few days. And it's interesting you mentioned offshore wind there at the start, because yeah, what's been in the media lately hasn't been looking good. So well done for flying the flag of green hydrogen, and we hope it's going to be positive going forward. So now onto your speaking position at the event. We've got you involved in our plenary panel debate of the day, where we're looking at the domestic versus international hydrogen demand side dilemma. And we've got a couple of speakers arguing for, the international versus the domestic side of the argument. You're going to be covering the domestic debate side. So would you be able to give the audience a bit of your opinions there, and a little insight into perhaps what they'll get to see in the event?
Of course, and I would say unabashedly, this was an easy position to take for us, in that we are fully on the domestic side. We don't right now look at any international export. And for me, there's a bunch of reasons for that. And obviously we'll go into great detail at the show. But frankly, we see plenty of domestic demand for hydrogen. That's one. Two, the physics are the way they are, right? It's hard to move hydrogen. It's very different physically as a commodity compared to crude oil, let alone LNG, liquefied natural gas, right? Which has become more of a globally traded commodity, albeit there's not one price throughout the entire world. Hydrogen is just very different. It's harder to move. In addition, when you talk about a global market, you're competing with the rest of the world. And as far as I'm concerned, it's really difficult to say, let's assume the IRA stays in place and you can make hydrogen super cheap in key spots of the US. We're competing with the rest of the world, who also have locations from Western Australia, Africa, Middle East, India, Chile, etc. Right? I certainly didn't mention all of them, that have good factors. And for Novo, we didn't feel like we could accurately underwrite what's the price from all those other places to determine how we're going to compete. In addition, you're looking at key, effectively, governments for importing. I do believe there will be import-export trade. I just don't think it's going to be as extensive as people expect. Or said another way, the potential supply is a lot higher than the demand. Therefore, for us, it was an easy decision to focus on the domestic market, and we have plenty to do there.
Yeah, yeah, that's an interesting point you make. There's certainly going to be some discussion at the event as to where the export markets might be and whether they're perhaps even going to be too saturated. So maybe domestic is the way forward, and it's a discussion we're going to have. So for those of you listening, make sure you join us for that. So on to a final question for the audience. Bit more of a controversial one, but we're keen to have your opinions on this, Matt. So you've worked across various renewable energy sectors. Many say the hydrogen space is a bit fragmented. There's, as we know, unclear policy frameworks. There's a bit of lack of standardization of technologies. What's your take on this? Should we be worried that hydrogen might just be another overhyped technology that fails to live up to its promise, or can you perhaps give us some more optimism as you have already going forward?
Yeah, and I think it's always interesting to talk through overhyped, underhyped, because that inherently is comparing to some set of expectations. And I would say, yes, it is overhyped. And I would say that because there was maybe too much focus on everything hydrogen can do. And I mentioned this in the beginning, as opposed to the really key applications. And I think that's done a disservice where there are certain things. Let me give you an example. For home heating, that really doesn't make sense for hydrogen in the vast majority of applications. And the reason for that is just in the majority of locations, heat pumps electrifying your home, and I'm talking about a residential home, is a much more efficient solution than creating a full replacement for the natural gas grid with a hydrogen grid, and then creating hydrogen appliances, right? Hydrogen dryer, hydrogen furnace, etc. There are plenty of current uses of hydrogen and key new ones like steel DRI, direct reduction of iron, where hydrogen is the right solution and a key solution that I think, frankly, it is healthy to burst the bubble, reduce the hype, and really focus on the right applications. Hydrogen is not the solution for everything. That is clear to us. And again, I think it is the wrong way to go about it, to try to act like a hammer and see everything as a nail. You have to find the right use cases for hydrogen. And we, as NovoHydrogen, really spend a lot of time ruthlessly prioritizing which applications we focus on and avoiding the other ones. And I think there's room for all solutions from a broader decarbonization, pollution reduction perspective. And then within hydrogen, there's plenty of room for the different ways to make clean hydrogen. Therefore, we don't see it as an either or. It's a both and construct. And again, I think the expectations need to be reset. And roughly, right, it's a 100 million metric ton per year market, plus or minus, depending on who you ask. As far as we're concerned, if there was no growth, that's still an attractive market to go after. There clearly will be growth. Will it be 1.5x, 2x, 3x? I don't know. But there are key areas where it makes sense. And we think the industry should be really focused on those applications.
Yeah. Yeah. So it sounds like you're saying it's kind of over its initial honeymoon phase, and now we're really working out where it's going to apply best. And that's I'm sure everyone will remember the Elon Musk interview from a few years ago where he was saying it's not going to work at all, and now he's changed his tune on some of that as well. So it's definitely going to be an interesting thing to be looking at for this event. We're going to be covering various industries where we think it does make sense and where there are end users looking at buying both blue and green hydrogen. Everything from aviation to mobility to heavy industry as well. So, Matt, I think that's all we've got time for question-wise, but I want to thank you for sharing your opinions, for being with us and for supporting the show. And we're excited to have you join that debate and fly the domestic green hydrogen flag.
Yes, much appreciated. Thanks, Tom. Thanks for the time today, and looking forward to seeing you in Houston in several months.
Great stuff. Well, thank you, Matt. And for the audience watching, please do visit our website where you can find out more about the event, the session specifically, and the rest of our speakers. There'll be more speaker interviews coming up soon. So stay tuned, and we'll see you at the live show. Thank you.